I know Oleksandr Usyk said that he wants 2 more fights and that's it. What would be your preference for his last 2 fights? I guess one of them, the Dubois Parker winner.
Correct.
Is there any other preference that kind of stands out that you go, I want to see him fight?
Well, after he fights Dubois, there won't be another one.
Frank Warren is confident that Daniel Dubois will crush Joseph Parker and go on to face Oleksandr Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship clash.
Now, I just heard you say that you think you've only got 2 fights left in your career, so I guess that rules out a return to cruiserweight. In an ideal world, who are those 2 fights for Oleksandr Usyk?
First is who win next fight in 22 February. But next maybe show fight with Alex Pereira. Maybe. Why not? Alex wanna.
Moreover, Dubois has made it clear that he believes he will present a far more formidable challenge for Joseph Parker than Zhilei Zhang did in their previous bout. Reflecting on Parker's last fight against Zhang, Dubois was not particularly impressed by the Chinese fighter's output, suggesting that Zhang's activity in the ring was limited. He emphasized that his own relentless style will prove to be a significant contrast, stating that he applies constant pressure and does not let up.
I'm going to ask you about his last performance against Zhilei Zhang. Get off the canvas a couple of times to get up and do a job. How did you see the fight going into it? Who did you fancy going in?
I thought Parker would win it. You know, just on his, Zhang's activity in the ring isn't great. He has good moments, but I'm a different animal to Zhang. I'm on you all the time, I'm on you like a rash, I don't stop. So I think I'll just go through him. And
Dubois comes into this contest riding high on momentum, having secured a notable knockout victory over Anthony Joshua at Wembley in September. That performance, which saw him stop the former Olympic champion in the 5th round, has only reinforced his belief that he will be able to push through Parker without much difficulty. Despite Parker's experience and past encounters with top-level opposition, Dubois remains steadfast in his approach, seeing this fight as another opportunity to impose his will.
The new heavyweight king in the UK. Would it be fair to say that?
yeah, I've seen myself as putting myself through with this win as #1. Up there with all the top names. All the old dinosaurs are starting to move on, and I think he's one of them. He's been in many hard fights, and he has got many miles on the clock.
Begun.
And
I found the formula that works for me, and I've only just begun.
For Parker, this fight represents a chance to showcase how much he has evolved since his earlier days in the heavyweight division. His loss to Joshua back in 2018 was a defining moment, but at 33, he now sees himself as a much more refined and balanced fighter. Parker has expressed confidence in his growth, citing an improved level of maturity, a deeper appreciation for the sport, and a stronger sense of balance between family life and training. This renewed perspective has fueled his preparation for Dubois, and he remains determined to meet the challenge head-on.
It's crazy to be 33 years old and only loving it and enjoying it way more now.
Yeah.
And I'm a happy fighter.
That's not an old man for a heavyweight anyway,
Really
33.
I'm just coming into my prime.
Yeah.
Parker acknowledges that Dubois' aggressive style will require a different approach than his fight against Zhang, but he welcomes the test. He believes his recent fights, particularly under the guidance of trainer Andy Lee, have prepared him for this moment. With a well-rounded skill set and the ability to adapt, Parker intends to rise to the occasion and prove that he is capable of reclaiming a world championship.
How do you win the fight?
I've said it before, I'm going to be too smart. Precision.
I'm going to mess up all these plans, destroy them all, and just go through him. Everything he brings, I'll be more, stronger, faster.
He's going to try, and you try. You are going to try your best.
We'll see though. We'll see.
However, Frank Warren is adamant that Dubois will crush Parker and go on to face Oleksandr Usyk in the much-anticipated rematch for the undisputed crown.
What would be your preference for his last 2 fights? I guess one of them, the Dubois Parker winner.
Correct.
Is there any other preference that kind of stands out that you go, I want to see him fight?
Well, after he fights Dubois, there won't be another one. Because I genuinely believe that if Daniel comes through his fight, I believe he'll wind up being the unified champion. Maybe a rematch.
What about
another rematch? Best of 3.
But Liam also said yesterday that he was offered a fight for more money.
He was offered for more money, but he's got more money than he was offered by them for this fight.
Who was the opponent that Liam was offered yesterday? Or
When he comes through this one, he'll be fighting the guy, and then we'll announce it.
Coming to what the pros have to say about Parker versus Dubois, David Price has also weighed in on the upcoming showdown. From his perspective, Parker has always possessed strong fundamentals, but working with Andy Lee has refined his abilities even further. He stated, "Joseph Parker has always had the fundamentals. Andy Lee has just made some tweaks to his style. He looks a bit more ring savvy now, and if you watch his fights back and listen to them between rounds, Parker really listens to him. He follows instructions to a T. That's why he's beaten the likes of Deontay Wilder. Some rounds there hasn't been much in it, but since working with Andy, he does enough to win the close rounds. He did a similar thing in the Zhang fight." According to Price, the dynamic of this fight will largely be dictated by Dubois' aggressive nature. Unlike some of Parker's recent opponents, Dubois brings an intensity that could force Parker into a more reactive strategy. He further added, "The Dubois fight might not be as tactical because of the way Daniel fights. He's an aggressive opponent and he's great to watch. It will either bring the aggression out in Parker or he'll stay calm like he has done recently and steal a few close rounds. We could be going into the second half of the fight with Parker ahead on the cards. I'd go with Dubois to win by late stoppage." Meanwhile, Tony Bellew presents an alternative perspective, believing that Parker has the necessary tools to overcome Dubois and reclaim championship status. From Bellew's point of view, the key for Parker lies in surviving the early rounds. He suggests that Dubois thrives on confidence, and that if Parker can disrupt his rhythm in the opening stages, the tide of the fight could shift in his favor. Bellew describes Dubois as a fighter who builds momentum when allowed to dictate the pace, making it crucial for Parker to challenge him from the outset.
Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois aside, is the most informed heavyweight in the world.
Yeah, both of them in
Without-
great form,
mate,
to be fair, yeah.
If anything, I think actually Joseph Parker is in better form than Daniel Dubois, because that spree of fights of Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang,
Yeah, great
let's
little
just look at it for what it is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous, because Zhilei Zhang was undefeated, in my opinion, until he faced Joseph Parker.
He's becoming a bit of a giant killer, Joseph Parker,
Mate,
really, isn't he?
He really has, and I've got to
Is
give
Daniel
him...
Dubois next on the list for him? Yeah.
It's a potential, potentially. I've just got to give him massive credit.
Peter Fury's take on the matchup reflects the overall uncertainty surrounding the outcome. While recognizing Dubois' raw power and Parker's technical skill, Fury emphasizes that the unpredictability of the fight is what makes it so intriguing. He acknowledges the strengths of both men, but notes that the contest could swing in either direction, depending on who can impose their style more effectively. Fury's analysis highlights the complexity of the fight, suggesting that it could be an action-packed back-and-forth battle, with neither fighter guaranteed the upper hand.
I think it's a great fight. I think it's one of them, which one do you want to pick? But these are the type of fights we all want to see, so I think it's a good fight. Definitely going to be watching it, and I think it's going to be exciting.
Justice Hooney offers a prediction that leans in favor of Parker. He sees Parker's superior footwork and speed as key advantages that will help him avoid the heavy punches that Dubois is known for. Hooney believes that Parker's ability to outmaneuver Dubois and avoid the big shots will allow him to control the pace and dictate the rhythm of the fight. He predicts that Parker's technical proficiency and boxing IQ will ultimately give him the edge, as he will be able to outbox Dubois and neutralize the Brit's power. Hooney's take reflects the belief that Dubois' knockout potential could be mitigated by Parker's defensive abilities and movement.
I think Joseph Parker has what it takes to beat Dubois. He's got the speed, footwork. Just as long as he doesn't, stay in there and get caught up in Dubois' fight, I think he's got what it takes to get those saddles.
Dave Allen continues to stand by his belief that the New Zealander's boxing ability is a decisive factor. Allen praises Parker's experience and ring intelligence, suggesting that these qualities will be the determining factors when it comes to overcoming Dubois. While acknowledging Dubois' knockout potential, Allen argues that power alone is not enough to defeat someone with Parker's tactical skill. He anticipates that as the fight progresses, Dubois may struggle to maintain his explosive energy, allowing Parker to take control and assert his experience and composure. Allen's analysis suggests that Parker's ability to adjust to different fighting styles and his deep well of experience will be key to securing the victory.
I used to be known as one of the hardest men in British boxing. I pull out in the corner against Fraser Clark. I'm a quitter on this and that. You go from one of the hardest men in British boxing to a quitter overnight. But I used to look at Dubois and go, he's got a bit of quitting in him. He's a bit chinny out. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not anymore, is he? Like, he's walked through Hergo, he's walked through Miller. walk through Joshua.
While leaning toward Dubois' knockout power, Dillian Whyte recognizes the challenges that Parker presents in terms of his ring craft and tactical acumen. Whyte believes that Dubois' power could give him the upper hand early on, but he warns that Parker's ability to control the pace and manage his movement could frustrate Dubois. Whyte points out that Parker's unpredictability and versatility could prove to be difficult for Dubois to handle. He underscores that the fight could go in any direction, with both fighters possessing the tools to claim victory. Whyte's analysis emphasizes the excitement surrounding the match, as it remains unclear who will be able to impose their game plan most effectively.
That's a tough fight, man. It's a tough fight. Credit to Daniel. Daniel just fight. He just said, if you want to go now, we can go. That's it. That's what it's on. He said, if you want to go, we can go. Bring him on. Daniel is doing amazing at the minute, man. Tough fight. He's not having no easy fight. Tough fight.
Martin Bakole shares a similar perspective to Whyte's, but ultimately favors Parker's chances of victory. Bakole draws a comparison between Parker's style and that of Oleksandr Usyk, who successfully employed speed and movement to frustrate and defeat Dubois. He believes that Parker can use a similar strategy to outmaneuver Dubois, making use of his superior footwork and agility to avoid Dubois' heavy punches. Bakole emphasizes that Parker's movement will be crucial in wearing down Dubois over the course of the fight, giving Parker control of the bout as it progresses.
That's my opinion. I think Daniel Dubois, it will be in the so Parker will take over and win the fight.
Jai Opetaia expresses his excitement for the fight, but refrains from picking a clear winner. Opetaia recognizes both fighters as world-class athletes with unique skill sets, and he predicts that the fight will be an intense and thrilling spectacle. While not choosing a side, Opetaia's appreciation for the anticipation surrounding the match adds to the overall hype, underscoring that both fighters have the potential to deliver a standout performance.
What do you think that Parker can do to take advantage, perhaps maybe of Dubois' overconfidence coming into this fight? What do you think that he could do to mentally prepare so he could take that win?
Well, I don't think he's overconfident, man. All this press conference, all this this is his talk. This is for you guys. You know, they're fighters. They're world champions. You know what I mean? They know what they're doing. Don't let these words fool you. You know, they win world titles for a reason, and Parker's been there too. You know, I feel like this fight we're going to be the best. We're going to see the best version of both of them. So it's exciting.
Dave Coldwell is confident that Parker's technical abilities and experience will allow him to overcome Dubois. Coldwell notes that while Dubois is a powerful fighter, he relies too heavily on his brute force. In contrast, Parker's intelligence in the ring will enable him to outthink and outmaneuver Dubois. Coldwell predicts that Parker's adaptability and ability to adjust his tactics during the fight will be decisive, particularly if the bout goes the distance. He sees Parker's boxing IQ as a key factor that will allow him to overcome Dubois' raw power.
Parker Dubois. I fancy Parker is not an underdog in this fight. Everyone makes out as though he's a massive underdog. I'm not saying Dubois can't beat him or isn't going to beat him, but I'm saying what I can see so many ways how so many assets that Parker has that can cause Dubois a lot of problems, and if Parker wins, I'm not going to be shocked.
Adam Smith, a member of Parker's camp, shares a similar sense of confidence in the New Zealander's ability to win. Smith highlights Parker's experience and mental composure, suggesting that these qualities will be crucial in securing the victory. Smith argues that while Dubois may have the momentum on his side, Parker's ability to stay calm under pressure and perform in big moments will make all the difference. His insight into Parker's mental toughness and composure reflects the belief that these attributes will give Parker the edge in a closely contested battle.
So he's had one defense already, and he could easily have been allowed a sort of softer, second one. No soft touch here. Joseph Parker's in the form of his life. Andy Lee has been amazing for him. I spoke to Joe on my podcast a couple of days ago, and he is just absolutely bang up for this. He's put a bit of muscle on. He's got George Lockhart with him. He's got Andy Lee. He's got a great team. Obviously one of the nicest people in boxing. Daniel Dubois has got the momentum and the confidence now. It's fantastic being around him. He came back from a holiday in Brazil, super sharp. I saw him on the pads maybe in his first or second training session back, and he looked incredible. So I'm really excited about that fight.
Carl Froch weighs in on the fight by acknowledging Dubois' knockout power, but ultimately favoring Parker's versatility. Froch believes that if Parker can avoid getting caught by Dubois' heavy punches early in the fight, he will be able to frustrate the Brit and impose his own strategy. Froch highlights Parker's movement and ring IQ, suggesting that his ability to adapt and control the pace will be key in neutralizing Dubois' strengths. Froch's perspective reflects the view that Parker's skills will give him an advantage over Dubois, particularly as the fight wears on.
You know what, I talked about it earlier this month. I think a Joseph Parker fight, he's bigger than Parker, naturally bigger. He punches hard on him, but Parker's on a couple of decent wins. Yeah, beat Zhang, beat Deontay Wilder. They're good wins, in good form. You know what I mean? He's looking like he's really getting his second win in his career. So if Dubois can beat Joseph Parker after the wipeout job against AJ, he really has established himself as a bona fide world champion.
Yeah.
So, and it's a fight that will be good, because you never know, because Parker's got all that, he's got bags of experience, and he's boxing and moving well, he's super fit for 12 rounds, and he can punch a little bit as well, and he's tough. So I think that's a tough fight for both guys.
Chris Lovejoy believes that Parker's superior boxing skills will be the determining factor in the fight. Lovejoy acknowledges Dubois' power and durability, but argues that Dubois lacks the technical finesse needed to handle someone as skilled as Parker. He predicts that Parker will avoid Dubois' big punches in the early rounds and gradually take control of the fight with his superior technical abilities. For Lovejoy, the longer the fight goes on, the more Parker will be able to showcase his skill set and outclass Dubois.
I got Parker. You know, Daniel Dum Dubois, he just can't really get right. You know, he has no real skill. Pretty durable chin. Art is kind of questionable. But I don't think skill-wise he could mess with Parker. You know, I think Parker would be too much for him. I think Parker would be too much for him early in the fight.
However, Simon Jordan offers a more optimistic outlook for Dubois. He predicts that Dubois' raw power and aggressive fighting style will ultimately overwhelm Parker. Jordan acknowledges Parker's recent victories, but argues that Dubois' physicality and knockout potential will be the deciding factors. He sees Dubois as the clear favorite, believing that his aggressive approach will be too much for Parker to handle. Jordan's prediction hinges on the idea that power, when combined with an aggressive approach, will be the key to Dubois' success in the ring.
No, he is. I mean, he's a top-class operator in all aspects, both in the ring and outside of the ring. And so you find yourself in a situation when you listen to Joseph Parker that there's not a lot of trash talking that goes on. He can have a go, and you know he did the other day in the face-off when they had a little bit back and forward with Daniel Dubois with Adi Oladipo on DAZN. But most of the time you get sensible conversation with him. He's very respectful. He's also a very good fighter. I just think that Daniel Dubois is going to be a step too far for him. I don't think it's a formality, but I do think that Daniel will win, and I do think that he'll stop him.
Nick Campbell believes that the outcome of the fight will depend on which fighter can implement their game plan more effectively. He sees both Dubois and Parker as fighters in peak form, each having demonstrated their strengths in recent bouts. Campbell notes Parker's experience against top-tier opponents, but also highlights Dubois' raw power as a significant threat. His perspective reflects the contrast between Parker's technical skills and Dubois' explosive power, emphasizing that the winner will be the fighter who can best execute their strategy.
I think if you need to be honest about it, you know, listen, Joe's a really good friend of mine, but if I want to be impartial and I want to pass comment on things and I want to, you know, I need to be honest about it. It is a 50-50 fight. I think you look at both guys' momentum, you know, like you just said, Dubois has been unbelievable in his last 3 fights, 3 big wins. You look at Joe, his last 2 fights, especially Wilder and Zhang, 2 unbelievable wins, 2 great performances. I think if you look at both fighters, they're both pretty opposing characters, pretty polar opposite really in their personality, the way they go about things, their journey so far.
Zhilei Zhang, who initially favored Dubois, has since revised his opinion and now views the fight as a true 50-50 contest. Zhang acknowledges that Dubois' knockout power is still a major threat, but he also recognizes that Parker's adaptability and experience could play a decisive role. This shift in perspective highlights the unpredictable nature of the fight, where both fighters have the attributes necessary to claim victory. Zhang's analysis supports the notion that neither fighter has a clear advantage, with the outcome uncertain until the final bell.
It's a hard predict because I think this is a truly 50-50 fight, and I like both of these fighters. I think if I have to say something, I'll tell Dubois to come there and don't be overlooking Joseph Parker.
Paulie Malignaggi raises concerns about Dubois' ability to cope with Parker's technical skill and defensive movement. While Malignaggi acknowledges Dubois' success against more aggressive opponents, he believes that Parker's defensive abilities will pose significant challenges for the British fighter. If Dubois is unable to adjust to Parker's movement and strategy, Malignaggi suggests that Parker will frustrate him and ultimately take control of the fight. Malignaggi's analysis underscores the importance of Parker's ability to manage the tempo and frustrate Dubois with his technical abilities.
You know, gee, that's a good question. You know, it's probably, you're looking at a multi-layered fighter when it comes to Parker. I think you're going to have to, Dubois is going to have to show us something that we may not have seen in him. We know he's got this reputation as an explosive, bulky type of fighter who can create highlight reel knockouts, but I think he's going to have to show some of the IQ, if there is any, there, and that's going to expose whether there is any or not. And if he's able to beat Parker because he's going to have to show this IQ in this fight, then we're going to be able to check off another one of the boxes in terms of how we rate Dubois and say, okay, he's even higher and even better level than we've given him credit so far. You know, it's another one of those check marks, and you can say, okay, he's got this too. You know what I'm saying? Right now, as far as a high IQ fighter he faced, it was Usyk.
However, Amir Khan remains confident in Dubois' ability to win. He points to Dubois' recent dominant performances as evidence of his development as a fighter. Khan believes that Dubois' knockout power and newfound self-belief will be enough to overcome Parker, despite the New Zealander's considerable talent. Khan's argument suggests that Dubois' maturity as a fighter and his aggressive style will be too much for Parker to handle, even though Parker is a skilled boxer in his own right.
I like Dubois, man. Dubois a beast. Honestly, I said that from when he fought against Hergovich. I said that, yo, who is this kid, man? I go, this kid's good. And I remember watching that live, and I like the way he fought and how he puts his punches together and how strong he is, and the way he took those fights apart. Obviously, he's coming off a great win against Anthony Joshua. He's gonna have more confidence. So yeah, I think I got Dubois going in that fight winning.
Joe Joyce, who has faced both fighters in the ring, suggests that the early rounds will be crucial in determining the winner. Joyce believes that the fighter who can establish control early on will have a significant tactical advantage. He emphasizes that Parker's ability to avoid getting caught up in Dubois' aggressive style will be key to his success. Joyce's insight suggests that Parker's experience and ability to manage the pace of the fight will help him overcome the challenges posed by Dubois, particularly in the later rounds.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Like, obviously Dubois hits hard. He's come from like more, I don't know, stepped up. But then also Parker as well. Like they've both come along and they've both like been in big fights. So yeah, I'm really excited to see who gets the win.
Chris Algieri predicts that Parker's experience and strategic approach will lead to victory. While acknowledging Dubois' knockout potential, Algieri believes that Parker's ring IQ and ability to control the tempo will be the deciding factors. He suggests that if Dubois is unable to land his big punches early on, Parker's technical ability will allow him to take control and win the fight in the later rounds.
It's a really tough fight for Dubois. Not an easy route for anyone in the heavyweight division, this new version of Joseph Parker. The guy's got a very good chin. He's got a great gas tank, good motor. He knows how to fight punchers. He's coming off of two humongous punchers in Wilder and Zhang. Granted, Wilder didn't fight the fight, doesn't look to himself, but Zhang sure did. Zhang dropped him twice. Parker got up and outboxed him. He's a very, very capable guy in there, even a heavyweight. He's a big guy, too. People forget. Yes, he's a technician. Yes, he's kind of crafty and will outmaneuver you, but he's big enough, durable enough to deal with these super heavyweight guys and a big punch like Dubois. Very, very tough fight. Good matchup. We're seeing a guy who actually deserved the shot getting the shot. I like it.
So what are your thoughts about this? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.